Morning, everyone. Kevin the Toy Smuggler here, and today we're going to talk about the new He-Man by Mattel. Everyone, of course, by now has heard about the new comic book series fixing to come out, and also I believe it's a Netflix movie now, sometime next year, 2021. And I'm hoping that the comic book's supposed to be coming out sometime later this fall and stuff, but we heard about around September possibly that we'll be seeing the new He-Man figures in like Walmart, uh, probably probably Target and places like that. But I went to the website today. It is called, let's see, the Lords of Power. Yeah, Lords of Power. And it shows the new picture of the new line. And I have to say, I'm actually, this is what, of course, Super 7 came out with and stuff. And I've already did reviews on the She-Ra and stuff. Not a bad line. I mean, like I said, the only issue I had was his little chest harness thing and stuff. All in all, like I said, they've done the better swivel on the legs. Some improvement, some things not. But all in all, I was just happy to see He-Man figures back out and for sale. But I have to say, these new figures by Mattel that's fixing to come out, wow. The one thing that I'm extremely pleased, sharp details. And it looks like, I'm just looking at the He-Man figure here. Man, the harness fits great. And they're really kind of going back to the comic, not the comic book, but the mini comics. If you look at the Skeletor, the Beastman, man, just the details that are on these guys are amazing. And I'm just going to scroll down here. The Beastman, they got a picture of what they you can that's got a slide bar that showed like the pre-production prototypes, like for commercials and stuff. The rough clay jobs that the guys in house did. And you can tell these were hand painted and stuff. But then you look at the real figure, you can see that Mattel used these old photos and designs, and I'm sure they still had access to the real pieces, probably, if I had to guess. So the sculptors may even had a chance to put their hands on it. And, that would have been amazing. Whoever got to do that, man, lucky, lucky, lucky. And then, man, the Beast Man looks, he don't look like a bumbling fool like they played him off in the cartoon. And that's one thing I hope that Kevin Smith and the other guys that are working on the new cartoon, they considering I think the huge fan base is going to be this is guys like us can take the foolishness out of it and stuff and really take this to a whole new level. They got a great opportunity here to take the kiddiness out of it, and I hope Mattel really pushes them in that direction because they got a chance here. If they want to do a child's version, fine. Take that product to another cartoon company. Let them do a child version of it. But we need to have our own version that comes out that spins right off the original cartoon, but boom, it takes a more serious tone, a more serious artwork and stuff like that. Just keep it to where we're going to be satisfied with the product. And you can scroll on down. The next figure they got here is a merman. Looks really good. A little different shape on his head, but like I said, every one of these they went by the original designs, and as from an artist point of view, I highly respect that. So I don't mind harking back to the original prototypes. I think that's going to give a really cool vintage feel. And like I said, from an artist point of view, I really like that idea. And the man at arms, even though he don't have the mustache, but they still took him off that original design. And I love it. Looks like he's got some really good details. And what I'm hoping to see versus what was done in the past on other toy lines, that the He-Man, like the parts that go on them, they're actually molded in the right color plastic, not painted. I don't want to see paint rubs off guns. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. If the gun's supposed to be a certain color, you mold it in that color. It's just then if you want to do a wash on it or whatever, or dry brush, that's fine. But don't paint them completely. That's just retarded. And the Skeletor, he's got a different look, but once again, he really harkens back to that the artwork from the original. I'm trying to remember that guy's name. Is it Mark, if I'm not mistaken? but I really like to look at it. He still has that menacing look, and I love the new articulation with the bendable knees and just the bit. And I'm glad they didn't go crazy stupid with 19 points of articulation on us. I'm glad they went simple, a simple wrist spin and bend at the elbows. And if I had to guess here, I can't on none of these. I'm not being able to see if they almost you can almost tell on the Skeletor that he might have the part. Not only does he spin this way, but he's got the capability to raise up at that 45-degree angle. So that looks, I almost can tell that in the picture, barely though, just barely. Then we get down here to He-Man, and it's funny how the prototype He-Man, the one that actually got onto this picture stuff, really they hit the nail on the head with that. Not much changes there, and that's kind of like that about this He-Man. He, other than a couple of different paint apps, he really looks like what he did, and it looks like they did update the shield to where it's not a 2 or 3 part component there. It looks to be like a one piece, which would probably be better. And that looks like a paint app on the orange and stuff. And it looks like they're going with a more of a red on the, yeah, still going with the dark. It looks like a darker red though, from what I remember as the other. Now they got the yellow on the boots. I think that harkened back to the original one and stuff. So really cool. I'm very excited to, and the He-Man's face looks serious. It don't look goofy or a bad hairstyle or anything like that. So, and here it says PowerCon August 2020. So hopefully we'll be seeing them September, October hitting Walmarts and stuff. And if you go on down, they have a picture of a Castle Grayskull. Now, I've not heard this, and I don't know if anybody else has heard this. I'm going to flip back over live stream and see if anybody's popping in, if any questions or any more information. But I'm curious, are we going to get a new Castle Grayskull roughly the same size that we got before, but with the different little ledge and stuff like that, and the more of the Mark Taylor, there's his name. See, it popped in my head early this morning. So see, his style of the castle had more of a V art to it. And, you know, it wasn't perfectly symmetrical like the one we ended up getting. So I'm curious if they're going to redo a castle. I think that would be extremely exciting, something new. And I like to see them really push this line all the way. I really do. I got some great hopes for He-Man. I really do, with the new comic. I think with Kevin Smith involved, I think he will help keep it going in the right direction and stuff like that. And like I said, and another reason, I ain't gonna lie, I'm just gonna be honest here. Like I said, with the project that me and Tim Smith are working on, Starman, it fits in that same motif. So I'm really hoping that this sci-fi fantasy Conan-esque kind of tale story really hits home, because if it does, then that just gives the product that we're working on a lot more weight to help push it and pitch it to, hey, I'm going to pitch it to other cartoon companies. I'm currently pitching it to a toy company right now. So yes, I got a phone call yesterday from a toy company that I've been dealing with lately a little bit here and there, but possible sculpting opportunities may be coming up for me. And like I said, I'm looking at trying to get the toys that we're wanting to do off the book run through this company. So I'm going to be just waiting for them to give me an email back or a phone call back so we can discuss more in greater lengths and stuff like that. So I'm very excited about that. So, and I'm just trying to build off the success that I've had in off the Bantha and stuff like that. Now, like I said, we got some other products coming out soon, but I really think with the Starman, what will really help it is if this He-Man really hits the shelves and really gets popular, because then that way that will open up the doors for that avenue of type of storytelling that Starman can really ride upon and give it a good chance. Because it's unfortunately, with the way nowadays, and it's been like this for the last 10, 15 years or so, it's like, I remember, gosh, it was just before the Twilight series. So whatever year Twilight came out, this was like a year or so before Twilight was even a thought in anybody's ear or whatever. And I remember talking to the marketing agent at Hot Topic. And that's when I was actually first started doing my vampire series called Paranormal Chasers. And I remember talking to her, and I sent her some photos of different merchandise and stuff like that. And I said, yeah, one of the stories angles that we're doing is, I said, we live in a very historical Civil War Indian area. And I said, and we're wanting to take this vampire story and really take it back to the Civil War and the Native American heritage and stuff like that. And anywhere there was a gap in the real history, add those real history components to it. And then anywhere there's a gap, that's where we throw in our fantasy story, obviously. And she was like, well, she said, I've never heard of anything like that. I just don't see how vampires and the Civil War and or anything like that can be taken seriously or ever end up be popular. Then it wasn't barely a year later, Twilight comes out, and one of their characters had a Civil War background. Then a few years later, Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter, comes out. So it's just like, so my ideas, unfortunately, tend to come several years ahead, pop culture and the mainstream what's going on. And it seems like I keep missing that break because people, like I said, and they don't count it unless it's mainstream. And I think that's just a ridiculous notion. And so I'm on this deal. I'm trying to I'm not jumping the curb, but I'm trying to ride the curb with what's I know what's, because see, before I didn't know about Twilight. I couldn't say, well, Twilight's fixing to come out and this is just another product you could push. See, but now I know that He-Man going to have a cartoon. um, they're going to have a comic book series, and looking at a movie on Netflix. So now I got something to build off of. And that with these smaller publishing companies and smaller toy companies, that whereas hey, here's something that's going to fit right with her, that we can set it on your company. And since you can't do He-Man toys, this is the next best thing. So that's something what we're trying to go ahead and build and create. So when we got time to work on this and to do it. So, and by the time He-Man, I think the cartoon comes out and everything, we should have the book pretty well completed. We'll have anywhere between 4 to 6 figures designed. So I think we're just ahead of this deal to where we can hopefully hop on the train, so to speak. I hate doing it like that, but this is a business. We're in a business. We got, as much as I love just doing this stuff, bottom line, we got to sell this stuff. I mean, I can't just work for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, but I got an amazing partner with Tim Smith. I mean, he is just a great artist, and just bottom line, just an amazing person. We've been clicking on this project, and that's what I love about it. And like I said, with these new He-Man figures that are coming out, I said I'm really excited about it. Like I said, I loved He-Man stuff ever since it first came out, and like I said, I'm really excited about seeing these vintage prototype style figures coming out, and I'm curious. I really look forward to what they do after this first wave in line. That's what I'm curious about. So if anybody has heard anything else, please throw it into the discussion today. I'll be watching my feeds all day long because I'm curious what you guys think about the new He-Man stuff. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I mean, what's your feelings on it? And because I really do think, and this is me just coming from a storytelling point of view, an artist point of view, considering how Disney didn't quite handle the Star Wars property, I'm hoping that Mattel, through these last 5 years, have sit back and like take notes. All right, they've had the best selling merchandising product of all time, and they didn't do this right. They didn't do that right. They screwed this up in the movies. They messed up the canon. So I'm hoping all these points where Disney took for granted of the property to take care of itself instead of them treating it a certain way. I'm hoping Mattel, since this is their baby, that they're going to come in and make sure that the right people are painstakingly taking care of this and making sure, is this right? Is this what our original fans truly want? And I have a sneaky feeling that's what they're doing. They're waiting for all this Star Wars hype to kind of pause. And here's another strategic thing they're doing that I mean, they're coming out with that new He-Man wrestling ring, and they're mixing the wrestling figures, giving them a He-Man feel. So that's honestly, see, they're not trying to kidify. I know it sounds weird. They're not trying to take the He-Man property and make it childish. They're taking the property and putting it in where the kids are toys they're buying now, which is the WWE figures, and slowly introducing it to where they, oh, He-Man, what's this? And they're going to ask their mom. They're probably going to Google it. So by the time they come out with it, the little young kids that are buying their wrestling stuff, oh, this is the next new thing. He-Man in the wrestling ring. So whoever come up with that idea was a genius, Mattel. You need to give that person a raise. You need to put him on the front line of your decision making, because honestly, I thought of that years ago and I didn't understand why they didn't do it 10 years ago when wrestling first got popular. And when they even around 2002, when He-Man first came back out, wrestling was hot in 2002. So I think this is probably the best chance for Mattel to come in and play this angle, because this is the highest that WWE has ever been, because they did go through a phase there where they were not kid friendly. And now Vince has took things a little bit and made it a little bit more family friendly. So now with these new introducing the He-Man stuff, and they're going to have a cartoon coming out, and it wouldn't shock me that somewhere on this cartoon series, if we don't see a wrestling ring in some episode. And if they hadn't thought of that, what a cool idea that would be if He-Man goes to a traveling town and there's some big bully and they're having like an old school wrestling match and stuff like that. That would be cool. From a wrestling point of view, that would be sweet. So, guys, I'm the Toy Smuggler. I'm just keeping this short and sweet today. Like I said, let me know what you feel about the new He-Man stuff coming out. I love to hear you guys' opinion on stuff, and I will be there answering and replying to every message. So, please, guys, thank you for joining me this morning. And like I said, I can't wait. I think He-Man's going to rule the toy shelf, so they're just going to spread and take over. Go MOTU. Toy Smuggler. Have a good day.